Namaste, angels. This is the daily reading for the 13th. I've been procrastinating all morning. First of all, I've been up since 5:55, and I don't think I went to sleep until like 2:30. So I slept like 2 hours. And I'm supposed to be on this thing where I go to bed and I try to sleep for like 7 hours. Oh my goodness. But I've been up. I don't know. I guess it takes time. I can't expect it to be overnight after. I've never slept. My mother would say, like, and I remember in nursery school when they turn off the lights and tell you to take a nap and stuff, I'd just be laying there in the dark staring at the ceiling. I've never been this person to go to sleep. So my mother would have a time with me. Anyway, that's where I am. So I'm weird today. I don't know if that's why I'm weird today or if I'm just weird today in general. But I'm weird today, and I've been procrastinating all morning, and I didn't actually turn on the camera until guess what time? 11:11. That's what time it was when I didn't know it was when I hit it. The time popped up, and I said, "Ooh, okay." So I guess that's the way it's meant to be. Let's get into it. I feel like something else was going on today that I wanted to mention. Oh my God, yes, Jupiter sextile Pluto. So I talked about all the other things that are going on with Scorpio today. There's a Scorpio moon today, the 12th, the day in which I'm doing this reading. Venus is in Scorpio, Jupiter's in Scorpio, where it's been for a long time. Venus is going to be there till October 31st also, so she'll be there a while. So they're all there. I hadn't thought about how Jupiter, which is in Scorpio, is going to be like basically confronting Scorpio's ruler today, Pluto. There's so much stuff going on for those poor Scorpions. All right, we'll see what the energy turns up. I hope that's not why I'm beginning with the 5 of Earth. Not one of my favorites. It's about loss and lack and fear, just everything that sucks, basically. Let's see what happened on this day in history. Let's start there. From the year 509 BC, the Temple of Jupiter. Wow. Can you believe this? Jupiter, again. There's something else that I'm missing. There's something I'm missing. All right, let me go on. The year 509 BC, the Temple of Jupiter on Rome's Capitoline Hill is dedicated on the Ides of September. You think this could be the thing? What they were trying to make me know, and I didn't know it, and so it's here. I don't know. On the year 335 on this day, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is consecrated in Jerusalem. So I talked about the Church of the Holy Sepulchre the other day in the general reading. Remember, I was weird that day too, and I called it a scepter at first. It said it was a wand. Oh goodness. In 1224, Francis of Assisi is affiliated, I'm doing it again. Afflicted, not affiliated, afflicted with stigmata. That means the symbol, the spaces where Jesus was injured during the crucifixion, where the nails went through his hands, where the crown of thorns was around his head, nails went through his feet. Sometimes other people will produce these scars, you know, seemingly out of nowhere, and even bleed. These wounds and even bleed. So this happened to St. Francis of Assisi, it says, in the year 1224. On this day, he's afflicted with stigmata after a vision and having prayed on Mount Verna. 1847, which is 9/11 or 11, the American-Mexican War. U.S. General Winfield Scott captures Mexico City. 1956, IBM introduces the RAMAC 305. It's the first commercial computer with a hard drive that uses magnetic disks for storage. It weighs over a ton. A ton is 2,000 pounds. So to give you an idea what that means. 1993, which is 94 or 13 or 4 or 11/11, the time at which I started this reading, is the unveiling of the Oslo Accords, an Israeli-Palestinian peace agreement initiated by Norway. That's interesting. You guys can always, you know, I hope you realize, I mean, I'm sure you do, that you can always like look these things up further, Google further, if you're interested in any particular topic that I don't go into depth enough about for you. Did you know building begins on Hadrian's Wall in northern England on September 13th in the year 122? Famous birthdays: Daniel Defoe, Milton S. Hershey, John J. Pershing, Arnold Schoenberg, Claudette Colbert, Roald Dahl. Would you believe Hugh Daly, a one-arm pitcher for Cleveland in Forest City, tosses a 1-0 no-hitter against Philadelphia on September 13th in the year 1883. So September 13th equals 11/11, by the way. And 1883 is another 11. Famous weddings: 1893, microbiologist Robert Koch, 49, which is also 11/11, weds actress Hedwig Freiberg, who was 20, which is 11. 1975, novelist Danielle Steele, 28, weds Danny Zellgelder in a prison canteen. Ooh. 1891, television producer Lorne Michaels, 36, weds model Susan Forrestal. 1998, Spice Girls pop singer Melanie Brown, 23, weds Jimmy Gulzer in Little Marlow, Buckinghamshire. That's Mel B, of course, Melanie Brown, or Scary Spice. 2000, wrestler Stone Cold Steve Austin, 35. He weds WWE diva Deborah Marshall, who was 40, at the Little White Chapel in Las Vegas. And 1974, singer-composer Quincy Jones Jr., 28, divorces actress Ulla Anderson, 41, after 5 years of marriage. So you see that the male in this case was the junior. Because this, I'm mentioning it because it's no big deal to me, but it's come up quite a bit over the past week or two. And I think that this is one of the social limitations, societal ideologies that people are breaking free of, maybe thanks to Mars and Aquarius, which occurred this week also on the 10th. They were married for 5 years, so it didn't work out, but she was, 13, it looks like, years his senior. 13 again, of course, 4 or 11/11. Famous deaths: Titus, Philip II, James Wolfe, Ammon Goth, Tupac Shakur, and George Wallace. George Wallace was American, a politician and a segregationist. He was an asshole, a bastard, a racist. They don't have that here. Wallace was a Southern populist and segregationist. That's a nice way of saying he was a racist. Who famously declared in his 1963 inaugural address as Alabama governor that he stood for segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever. Now, I'm not necessarily opposing segregation. You know, people have their rights, but I'm just telling you, I know who George Wallace was. And black people know, especially black people from the South. And that's where my family's from. So anyway, Wallace then went on to stand in front of the entrance of the University of Alabama to try to stop the enrollment of black students, Vivian Malone and James Hood. The incident brought national attention and encouraged Wallace to stand as a U.S. presidential candidate for 4 consecutive elections. He sought the Democratic Party nomination, also because prior to civil rights, the Democratic Party was sort of the Republican Party that we know today, and the Republican Party was sort of the Democratic Party that we know today. So like when they say, for example, in 1865, because these things tend to happen on the 1965 is when the civil rights laws were passed. 1865 is when slavery ended, quote unquote ended. And that was done by Abraham Lincoln, or quote unquote, it was done by Abraham Lincoln, because what he did wasn't really to free the slaves. There's a lot more to it. But anyway, the phrase, the slaves were consequently freed for the most part, kind of, with the exception of the 14th Amendment. But he was a Republican. So that's why people will say the Republicans freed the slaves, but it's not the Republicans that we know today. They both sort of have switched places, R. Kelly style. So anyway, this guy was seeking the Democratic Party nomination in 1964, again in 1972, in 1976. In 1968, he was American Independent Party candidate, and he remains the last third party candidate to receive a state's electoral college votes. In 1972, an assassination attempt by Arthur Bremer left Wallace paralyzed and forced him to use a wheelchair for the remainder of his life. During his final years, Wallace publicly renounced segregationism, so he changed his mind, and he asked for the forgiveness of African Americans. He was born on August 25th. That makes him a Virgo. The year was 1919. That's another 11. And he was from Clio, Alabama, USA. He died on September 13th in 1998, which is 999. He was 79 at the time. The cause was septic shock from bacterial infection. Tupac Shakur. Oh, Lord. Let me prepare myself because I don't know what they're going to say, if it's going to be right. His real name was Lassane Parish Crooks. He was a rapper. That's all they have to say. He was a rapper. I mean, they go into detail a little bit more, but they don't mention that he was also an actor and, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, Tupac Shakur's mother and many of his family were members of the Black Panther Revolutionary Party, and their beliefs informed Shakur's music. Shakur was particularly concerned with the struggles and violence of inner city life. His 5 studio rap albums, including Me Against the World and All Eyes on Me, remain extremely influential. Shakur became involved in the East Coast, West Coast hip-hop rivalry. He didn't become involved. It was surrounded him and Biggie. Says he became involved particularly with Notorious B.I.G. The whole thing was about the two, surrounded the two of them, and it grew from there. Anyway, it led to an assault on Shakur in 1995. In 1995, Shakur was also convicted on sexual assault charges, which were bullshit, and he served 11 months. Yes, this is true. There's another 11 for you. In September 1996, he was shot in a drive-by shooting by an unknown shooter, and he died in a hospital 6 days later. He was born on June 16th in 1971. I always tell people we were born in the same place, 3 days apart. I'm older. Birthplace, Harlem, New York, USA. He died on September 13th in 1996 at the age of only 25. He was murdered in a drive-by shooting. All right, they didn't do horrible. Aman, spelled same thing like Ra, but totally different type of person. Aman Goth was actually a Nazi. He was Austrian. He was an SS officer. Goth ran the Plazo labor camp in Krakow during World War II. He was known for his extreme violence and sadistic methods of running the camp, which infamously included the shooting of Jewish prisoners from his villa balcony with a sniper rifle. Sick fuck. After the war, he was arrested and he was tried as a war criminal. He was found guilty of homicide, the first such conviction in a war crimes trial, for quote-unquote personally killing, maiming, and torturing a substantial, albeit unidentified number of people, end quote. In the 1993 Steven Spielberg film Schindler's List, which depicts his running of the Plazow camp, Goth was played by Ralph Fiennes. He was born on November 12th in 1908, which is 99. He was a Scorpio from Vienna, Austria. He died on September 13th in 1946 at the age of 37, execution by hanging, which is good for a change because most of those SS officers actually committed suicide. Very few were, brought to trial, convicted, and put to death. James Wolfe, full name James Peter Wolfe, was British. He was an army officer. He is famous for having defeated the French in Canada. He was born on January 2nd in 1727 and was a Capricorn from Westerham, Kent, England. He died on September 13th in 1759 at the age of 32. He was killed in action. Philip II was Spanish, the King of Spain. During Philip II's reign, Spain reached the height of its influence and power, often referred to as Spain's Golden Age. The expression, quote, the empire on which the sun never sets, end quote, was coined during his reign to reflect the extent of his domination, which stretched from Europe to the Americas and Asia. From 1554, he was also the King of Naples and Sicily, as well as the Duke of Milan. During his marriage to Queen Mary from 1554 through 58, he also became the King of England and Ireland. He was born on May 21st in the year 1527. I saw a lot of 6 9s for him. I don't remember where the other one was, but I'm seeing one now. Anyway, May 21st, the first day of Gemini. Some people say the last day of Taurus, but I don't know anybody born May 21st that doesn't consider themselves a Gemini. Nobody claims Taurus on that day. Anyway, he was from Valladolid, Spain. He died on September 13th in 1598 at the age of 71 of cancer. Titus is the last of the deaths. His full name, Titus Flavius Caesar Vespasianus Augustus. He was a Roman emperor from the year 79 through 81. Prior to becoming emperor, he gained recognition as a military commander. He besieged and captured Jerusalem and destroyed the city and the Second Temple. The Arch of Titus commemorates his victory to this day. As emperor, he is best known for completing the Colosseum and for his generosity in relieving the suffering caused by his 2 disasters and the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in the year 79 AD, as well as a fire in Rome in the year 80. He was born on December 30th in the year 39. He was a Capricorn from Rome, Italy. He died on September 13th at the age of 81. He died on September 13th in the year 81 at the age of 41 of a fever. Going back up to the birthdays, Roald Dahl was an author. He's famous because he was one of the greatest storytellers for children of the 20th century, creator of the BFG, Matilda, The Twits, and many others. He was born on September 13th in 1916 and was a Virgo from Llandaff, Wales. He died on November 23rd in 1990 at the age of 74. The cause of death was myelodysplastic syndrome. Claudette Colbert. Full name, Emily Lily Claudette Cacchione. She was American and an actress. She's famous for It Happened One Night in 1935, Private Worlds in 1936, Since You Went Away in 1945, and The Two Mrs. Grenvilles in 1987. She was born on September 13th in 1903 and was a Virgo from Saint Mandy, France. She died on July 30th in 1996 at the age of 92 of a stroke. Arnold Schoenberg was a composer and a painter. He was Austrian, and he was associated with the Expressionist movement in Germany's poetry and art, and he was the leader of the Second Viennese School. His approach has been one of the most influential of the 20th century music thought. He was born on September 13th in 1874, which is 9/11 or 11. He was a Virgo from Vienna, Austria. He died on July 13th, which is also 11. In the year 1951 at the age of 76, which is also 11/11. And John J. Persing was American. He was a U.S. World War I commander. He led the American Expeditionary Forces in World War I, and he was the only person to be promoted in his own lifetime to the highest rank ever held in general in the U.S. Army. He was born on September 13th in 1860 and was a Virgo from Laclede, Missouri, USA. He died on July 15th in 1948 at the age of 87 of coronary artery disease. Milton S. Hershey was a chocolate tycoon. He was founder of the Hershey Chocolate Company. He was born on September 13th in 1857 and was a Virgo from Derry Township, Pennsylvania, USA. Of course, the big Hershey place is still there. Hershey Manufacturing Company is still there in Pennsylvania. It's also a theme park. He died on October 13th in 1945 at the age of 88. Lastly, for the birthdays and for the people we're going to go over today, Daniel Defoe. His name was actually Daniel Foe, Hold the Dead. He was a novelist, and he's most famous for his novel Robinson Crusoe. He's notable for being one of the earliest proponents of the novel, and he helped to popularize them the form from Britain. Popularize the form in Britain, and he is among the founders of the English novel. A prolific and versatile writer, he wrote more than 500 books, pamphlets, and journals on various topics. He was born on September 13th in 1660 and was a Virgo from London, England. He died on April 24th in 1731 at the age of 70. Like I said, he was the last. So going to the dice, I'm already being stared in the face by 29, but it says buy shoes. Also, it's 50-50. So it's like if you're not going to get help, if somebody's not going to share the burden, it's like I can do all by myself. It's time for you to walk. And massage. That might make you feel better and get some clarity when you're like at peace and rest. Spirit says try again. That could be for the relationship as well. Romantic dinner may help. Buy shoes for the date. And 29 again. So going to the cards, like I said, I'm beginning with the Five of Earth, which is all about lack, fear surrounding money, the wisdom to accept help from others, uncertain self-employment. It's not just money, you know, the fears. It's just like fear in general. It can be other things, being worrying about loss or about lack, whether it's emotional, financial, material. Could even be, you know, spiritual, like you don't know what the hell to do with yourself, or where you are or where you're going. And you just feel lost. That's the Five of Earth. Speaking of fives, today's a five. Maybe that's why I'm pulling all these five. Maybe that's why I feel weird. I don't know. But today is a five. It is September 12th. So that is that equals 3. And then the year equals 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. So all about change and the need for a clearing of energy. In supreme math, it is power refinement, which means that basically the power is yours and you are sort of in control of how much power, authority you put over something and how much you don't. You're in control of your destiny. If it's not working, if your energy and power is not being used in the right way, freaking shift it, like refine it, change it up. But this card, the Five of Fire, the Five of Wands, it can be about conflict and the need to change and, you know, energy and stuff like that. Get moving on something and on clearing it out. Could be about power refinement. But it also, on a more positive note, for me, can be about taking action. And it's very like Mars, like by any means necessary sort of thing. I'm going to do what I have to do. Competing goals, bothersome details, conflict with others. Opposite the Five of Earth, right? Lack, opposite action. Could mean you need to, like, again, you're not happy with your situation, change it. You have the power to do that. Take action. Five of Earth. And opening to the Page of Air. Logical, honest, impulsive, and curious. That's what I'm being with you right now. Unless I'm trying to be. Because I'm a Gemini. A Page of Air. Right, the Page is the more youthful. or younger, could represent children or young people. Gemini is the more youthful of the air element, but of course this can also be a Libra, an Aquarius, or anybody likened to these traits or attributes. Challenging information, delays or changes to plans, and truth delivered without tact. That means, you know, no tiptoeing around the subject, just dropping it on you. 5 of Earth. And opening to the King of Fire is motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic. Focus, focus, focus. Communicate with vision and be a leader. Take advice from someone creative. The King of Fire is a Leo, Sagittarius, Aries, maybe even a Scorpio, especially with all that Scorpio shit that's going on today. Could be the planet Jupiter himself. Could be the planet Mars himself. Both of them very active. And it's also a representation of the divine masculine in the tarot, about whom I've been feeling a lot of this. That they've been just feeling a lot of this lack, and that they're lost and they don't know what to do. They're confused, and they lack confidence, and they're afraid. Yeah. I'm gonna bite my tongue. I'm not gonna be a page of swords right now. I'm gonna be my Leo rising. Just take the focus right to another direction and not say what I was about to say. 5 of Earth. And speaking of Scorpio, it is Major Arcana card Death or Release in this deck. Major Arcana card number 13 today. This reading is for the 13th. The end of a phase or situation. Spiritual transformation. It's time to move on. So maybe, again, you're taking the opportunity to change, to do some of that power refinement, and to let that old energy go and move into a new space. You know, knowing that you're in control. You are the King of Fire. You're the leader, especially in your own life. And death to lack, right? It was opposite that 5 of Earth. Just death to lack, and feeling alone and immobile, you know, and stuck. Death to old stale energy. Death to like being stifled. Let's move into the next energy. He's the 10 of Fire. So this indicates that there's, you know, yes, there's been a problem. And like the dice said, it's 50-50, or it should be. And because it hasn't been 50-50, you're feeling this way. Maybe even stressed out, high blood pressure, all that kind of stuff, because you're just carrying the whole, you know, burden, the full load of a situation. Whereas it should be shared. Responsibility should be shared, all that. It's not being, so you feel like this. But the good news is, it's a 10 of Fire, means it's coming to an end. The next card is the Ace, right? The Ace is the 11 or the 1, depending upon how one looks at it. And there's a brand new start in both cases. Overall energy is the King of Air, brilliant, impartial, professional, and diplomatic. Speak your mind with confidence. Seek out professional advice. Balance mental and emotional considerations. The King of Air is a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone like unto these traits or attributes. He is often like somebody that you can talk to. He's a good listener. He's fair. He's, you know, like a doctor, a psychologist maybe, a psychiatrist. He's a lawyer. He's a judge. Again, he's somebody who's doling out fairness and giving you an impartial view of a situation or circumstance. He could be Mercury. He could be Venus. Like, don't let the pantsuit fool you. He could be Venus still also. Mercury, ruler of Virgo, currently located in that sign. And Venus, well, Mercury is also a ruler of Gemini. Venus, ruler of Gemini too, but also Libra and Taurus in Scorpio, where Jupiter is. Crowning, speaking of Venus, crowning the masculine is Major Arcana card 8, Justice, which represents the sign of Libra, which again, Venus rules. Fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for your beliefs. This could be connected to a legal situation or a situation that holds that much importance for you, masculine. Especially with an overall energy of the King of Air, who I just mentioned a moment ago, could be a lawyer or a judge. Masculine surrounded by the Seven of Fire. Defend your beliefs and decisions. Stand your ground. Choose your battles wisely. This Justice card could represent a decision that you are making or have made, and maybe you're doing it in all fairness and diplomacy. You're doing it King of Air style, whether you're an air sign or not. And then you're going to stand by that decision and not let anybody punk you, talk you out of what you decided you wanted to do. Change your mind if you are not inclined to change it. Right? You're not going to allow it to be forcibly changed. Nobody to walk all over you and what you decided to do for you. That's what the Seven of Fire means. Standing by this decision. At the root, decision may have something to do with love. And maybe love between a water sign and an air sign. Since those are the two court cards that we have thus far, as well as the major arcana. A Libra and a water sign, or an air sign in general and a water sign. Oh, got those mixed up. Crowning the feminine. Major arcana card. Major arcana card? No, it's not major arcana card, but it mirrors major arcana card, Justice number 8. This 2 is an 8. I don't know, like the stuff that's in my head is not coming out of my mouth or vice versa. Oh, goodness. A desire to move on. The search for something more meaningful and spiritual and emotional growth. This could have to do with the walking shoes that showed up in the dice. Remember I said this is walking away from something or it could be walking toward something new too. But it's a change of energy. You're just like with the Five of Earth, like at a loss spiritually, emotionally drained, and needing to move to a new space that better aligns with you and picks up your vibe. Right, lifts it. Feminine surrounded by the Page of Air. Challenging information, delays or changes to plans, and truth delivered without tact. Page of Air is logical, honest, impulsive, and curious. And again, a Gemini or perhaps a Libra or an Aquarius, or anyone, who is sort of displaying these attributes right now. In the feminine subconscious, very nice. It's the Ten of Earth, a very happy family life, financial security, and finding magic in the little things in life. So the feminine on this daily is otherwise feeling like she's in a good place, but like she needs more. When life, okay, it's like I'm secure, I don't want for anything necessarily, but I just feel, yeah, like something's missing. Something's missing, and I want to go after it. I want to find it. Crowning, a Page of Water. Intuitive, sensitive, artistic, and friendly, a new person enters your life. A relationship begins a new phase, and there are heightened psychic abilities also possible. Sitting next to the Eight of Water, again, that can be exactly what it is and the extent of what it is. Particularly for the feminine. Feminine looking for something else, looking for more, feeling like something is missing, although, life isn't horrible, it's pretty decent. And it's this increased vibration that she's, longing for. And the universe sends her some heightened psychic abilities. Maybe underneath all this Scorpio energy. Again, it's like a Scorpio trifecta. With Jupiter and Scorpio, Venus and Scorpio, and a Scorpio moon. And then we added, when we went over in the beginning, we added the Jupiter sextile Pluto, which is Scorpio's ruler, aside from Mars. So, absolutely, there could be heightened psychic abilities. Scorpio, probably the most mysterious and intuitive, directly sign, of the, at least of the water element. However, the Page of Water also represents for me the sign of Pisces, you know, in particular. Although it can be a Scorpio or Cancer or anybody likened to these traits or attributes. Somebody could be more than one thing. They may have, you know, air and water in their chart. It could be one person, not necessarily a relationship between one of each. Somebody with both Scorpio and Libra, for example. Somebody that's a Cuspian, right? They're born on the 22nd of October, the 23rd of October. And so they're like right there on the cusp. At the root, the King of Water. Trustworthy, compassionate, respected, and cultured. Open your heart and mind to those around you. Trustworthy and heartfelt advice and charity work. Charity work is love as far as I'm concerned. It's giving and or receiving without agenda, without expecting something in return. And we have the King and Queen of Water sitting here next to each other. That is a couple, my dear viewers. This scenario here, in large part, or for a majority, will be connected to relationships. Romantic relationships, very likely. Not necessarily between two water signs, but of course that's an additional possibility. At the heart of the matter, speaking of water signs, it is Major Arcana card, the Moon. Important psychic insights. Events behind the scenes. Release fears that hold you back. The Moon represents the sign of Pisces. But the Moon, Earth's Moon at least, rules the sign of Cancer. So let's bring them into the mix too. Similar to the Page of Water, with the heightened psychic abilities, the Moon could be about important psychic insights, right? Coming into some sort of knowledge and knowing, or the fact, actually it's more likely that it's the fact that there's some stuff that's important that's hidden. There could be secrets between actual people, or secrets that the universe is keeping. In either case not necessarily malicious. Not like somebody's keeping a secret from you to be mean. Sometimes we just don't mention stuff. Maybe because it just never came up, and sometimes because we don't feel it's anybody's business, and so we're not saying. But in that sense, it's like information that's not known, that's not shared between the two. Definitely somebody could be getting married or divorced here, or going to family court. This could be the page, could be the child, right? Mother, father, child, in a legal situation, some sort of family court situation. Not knowing which way things are going to go, but letting go of any fear associated with the decision nonetheless. This could be the feminine prepared to walk, again, divorce or something. And the pages bring news. The decision could be coming down. It's in your favor, it's not in your favor. If it is, boom. This is on the feminine's mind, coming into a lump sum of money. Again, maybe from some sort of court situation, or other contractual agreement between two people. Why don't we take an additional look at the Moon? Major Arcana card, the Empress. Lavish abundance, give birth to your dreams, nurture yourself and others. Well, this is more Venus, first and foremost. This card also represents the signs of Libra, like Justice, Taurus, and Gemini. There can be a family situation involving a pregnancy and deciding what to do in that regard. Without a situation, somebody could be just learning that they're pregnant, right? It's unknown to you. The universe knows, and they let you know something's growing there. You get this news for the feminine. News. That is a reason to feel abundant because of a bundle. For others, could be metaphorical, pregnant with new opportunity, new abundance that is coming your way in some other form, perhaps love, emotion. A decision's been made to, finally face these feelings and approach them, make an offer of love, be open to receiving an offer of love. This could have something to do with somebody's mother or siblings too. And maybe for some that's what like a court situation is. Maybe these are your parents and there's like a court situation and some sort of inheritance or something for some on this day. Some of the feminine may receive some sort of news that causes them to, again, either walk away from or toward a situation or person. If you have been trying to get pregnant and you keep getting news that you are not pregnant, it hasn't worked out, this day is a good day to try again. And I think the dice said try again too when I begin. And I'm going to take a closer look also at justice. The Ten of Air, so some sort of situation, again, ending. Could be a marriage, could be some other sort of legal situation, could be another situation that's not officially legal, but it just has that amount of importance to you. A relationship that you were in for maybe a long time. It's ending. You've decided. You're done. You're walking away because it was difficult, it was stressful, and it was one-sided. It wasn't 50-50. Or you're walking away from the old energy of that relationship and you're trying something new, right? Let's change this. Let's work on making this a different sort of situation. But the negative and or codependent part is over. It's the end of a difficult situation. Embrace the change and expect things to get better now. Somebody could also be recovering from an addiction. That could be involved. And addiction doesn't necessarily mean substance abuse, although that's a possibility. It can be any sort of codependent situation where somebody was codependent upon you, or you were codependent upon another person. Somebody could be under the masculine, moving out of their mother's home is what I'm getting to. Like you're the child. It's not about having a child. You're the child, and you're coming into your own material abundance. You're moving away from your mother. You made the decision and she can't stop you. Because it was difficult, it was stressful. You're too old or whatever, you're too grown, at least you feel like it. Or she was too stifling, or both. Or a woman. This was not your mother, not necessarily a woman, of feminine energy. Feminine energy that you were living with, even if it was like a roommate or something. Like you can't anymore. You just can't. One more. The Page of Air for the feminine. The Ace of Earth. Maybe some money that you've been waiting on. In some cases, feminine. Money that you've been waiting on, perhaps to move, or the opportunity to move, the asset in which to move into, the home, the apartment or something. It's been delayed, it hadn't been working out, but it is finally on its way to you. The inflow of abundance, a promising business venture, important documents or contracts, and it could be a mother and child, right? Parent and child, mother and child, moving, right? This is about moving forward, moving to a new place, feeling secure. And I think that's it. That's all I see today. Further advice to the masculine, the Four of Fire. I told you I felt something about a home here. It doesn't have to be physically a home, but something that makes him feel like at home, happy, at peace, content. That's about what the decision is. He's leaving a situation that was making him feel other than that and moving toward one that makes him feel that. Contentment, peace, and abundance. A happy home life and the successful completion of a project. Like moving out of mommy's house. And for the feminine, brand new start at something. Again, can also be a move. Again, I see like mother and child perhaps. Moving. Unbeknown to you, abundance is in the works and on its way to you. You can't tell because it is delayed or has been delayed. But here comes the Ace of Earth. Okay, this lump sum blessing that's going to make you feel secure. Leap at it. I spoke about Mercury being the ruler of Gemini and Virgo in the beginning. The Dreamer in this deck, which is the Fool, Major Arcana card 0. All about taking about a brand new, leap of faith on walking on a brand new path that you never walked before. This card for me represents the planet Mercury and therefore the signs of Gemini and Virgo. A leap of faith. Follow your dreams. Because you know why? That leads to unexpected opportunities. I hope that you guys have enjoyed the daily and you find it helpful. Namaste, angels.